So in today's video, we are going to go over ChatGPT. If you have not heard of ChatGPT, I don't know why you have clicked on this video. But if you have clicked on this video and you are curious of what the whole fuss is about and why is everybody talking about it and why is ChatGPT all you're seeing on the news, it's a pretty powerful tool that's just come out. And it's been a couple of weeks now at least. But the pace at which this thing's growing and the popularity is growing is very, 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 surprising. And not in a way that is concerning, but in a way that is pleasant, because we're going to probably see a lot of development, a lot of tools, a lot of things that'll make our lives better, easier, faster, more efficient. But again, that's an opinion, and I know a lot of people don't think that way. I am excited for one. With that, this video is going to focus on what is ChatGPT, how it works, and then getting to the good stuff. How do you sign up for it? How do you use it? And then I'll have some use cases as well. What I recommend is you come along with me on this journey. If you have not already signed up for it, then let's get this done together. If you're just watching it to just see more use cases, fantastic. Sit back and grab a cup of coffee and let's do this thing. The first question, what the heck is ChatGPT, right? Like, what is it? And honestly, all it is it's just an AI that's trained on a whole bunch of text data, like a lot of it. And it's something that is able to understand natural language, so the language that you and I are speaking in. It's able to learn from this natural language, and it's able to generate human-like responses, meaning, respond in natural language. And that's the reason why it has this chat ability. So it's trained on a whole bunch of data, so it knows a lot of things, and then it's able to communicate like you and I communicate, which makes it an extremely powerful tool. So if you look under the hood a little bit, it's based on the GPT 3.5 architecture. It's made by OpenAI, that's the name of the company, and it uses the GPT 3.5 architecture. And all that means is it's basically just a deep neural network that is trained on, as I said, vast amounts of text data. An interesting thing about the way this works, very, very briefly, is it uses unsupervised learning. And what does unsupervised learning mean? It's essentially just basically means that it does not require any specific instructions or labeled data to learn. So generally, when you have a neural network where you're trying to train a bunch of, when you're trying to train a network to identify an image, is this a cat or is this a dog? The way you do it is you'll have a number of examples of cat images labeled as cat and a number of examples of dog images labeled as dog. And then you will basically have the network train on those images so it knows what a cat is and then what a dog is, right? Very broadly speaking. However, and so that's supervised learning, right? However, in this case, your learning is unsupervised, meaning you don't have to provide any specific instructions or label the data to learn, for the network to learn. And that is incredibly powerful because your speed of learning goes up tremendously. Think about it. If you're doing the cat dog example, you have to basically spend time to tag every single image. But if you didn't have to do that, your speed of learning just goes up tremendously because you no longer have to spend all of that time. So the way it learns, the way GPT 3.5 learns, for example, is by finding patterns and relationships in the text data that it has been trained on, right? So there's a whole concept of embeddings and vector space, which we can get into in a more detailed video in the future. But fundamentally, what we need to understand is the way it's learning is by finding patterns and relationships in the text data that it's been trained on. Okay, so now that we have a sense of what ChatGPT is and what's under the hood a little bit, the only thing to do here is get right into it and get yourself set up if you have not already set up. So the first thing to do would be to just go onto your browser, type in ChatGPT. I've got it here. First thing that comes up obviously is going to be ChatGPT, so you want to select on that one, introducing ChatGPT right here. That opens up the OpenAI page. This is the official, ChatGPT page. It's quite great just the way that they've actually built this whole page out. So I recommend even going through it, just browsing it, getting a sense of what these different things are. But for the purposes of getting yourself set up, just go right up to the top here and select Try ChatGPT. Now, once you do that, it's going to open up this other page, and it's going to ask you to sign up if you don't have an account already. I already have an account, and so I just signed up with my email address, and it's quite straightforward, really. Now, I have the Plus account, which means I do pay for mine, but there is a free version, and it is just as good because we are going to be using 3.5 today. The only thing the Plus version allows you for or adds to your experience is you actually get access to ChatGPT 4. So once you're in this console, you have now logged into your ChatGPT, and we can start playing with it. So on the left hand side here is your chat history. Right now we're starting fresh, so there is nothing, but as you start having different chats, your conversations can all be stored here. So you can reference back at any point or pick up the conversation from where you left off just by clicking on the chat history. These are just some basic buttons. This is a toggle selection for your models. So I think I just mentioned that default is available for the free version. Stand corrected. Default GPT 3.5 is actually available for Plus users only. But with that said, each one of these will have a card that is like a video game card that shows you the strengths of each model. So the default 3.5 has a 3 out of 5 on reasoning. It's very fast, and a 2 out of 5 on consciousness. Consciousness just means it's going to sound more human-like, right? To just put it in simple terms. Legacy, this is for the free users. 3 out of 5 on the reasoning, which I believe is the same as the default version. It's slower and is less conscious. I think it's slower here. I personally believe that it's throttled. That's why it's slower, because the way this is working at the back is it is making requests to the model, and each request that it makes has to take a cost. So by throttling the speed, they're basically reducing the number of requests just because there will be less total requests that will go in. Anyway, GPT-4 is the most advanced version that OpenAI has so far. 5 on 5 on reasoning, really high consciousness. Speed is slower, and the speed is slower because it is a much bigger model, and so it does just take time to go through the process of asking it a question and it answering. That's the basic toggles right here. And with that, the next step is for us to just start playing around with the messaging option here. So there's a number of things we can basically experiment with. This model is very powerful and can pretty much handle most things that we throw at it. The most basic, the most fundamental thing that you can start familiarizing with yourself with this particular interface is just simple chat, like chatting like it's you're chatting with your buddy. Saying things like, "Hey there, Chat GPT, how are you doing today?" Starting a small talk, just being polite. There you go. So it's an AI language model. It doesn't have emotions or feeling, but I'm functioning and ready to assist you with your concerns. How can I assist you today? So it's ready to go. It's ready to assist us. And we can start off with one of the most, I think, powerful applications of this thing in the field of content creation. So this can be something from writing a little caption for an Instagram post to writing a short story or a short essay, or writing a rap. And I like the writing a rap one a lot because it's a lot of fun. So say, we'll just tell chat to say, okay, can you write a rap that is no longer than 2 verses in the voice of, I think Eminem is a legend, describing yourself, right? So let's see how it does. So as you see, it goes right into it, very very fast, and here it is, right? And I'm not gonna read this because I will butcher Eminem's voice, but definitely if you look at this, yeah, this is right there. Yeah, so the ripes, the raps, the rhythms. See, there you go. I can't. That's why I don't rap because I can't even get the word right. But and as you saw, it was extremely fast. It was extremely fast, and it just did it. Similar thing can be said if we get a little bit more serious here and talk about maybe writing in an article. So let's say write a short story. And this is different from an article because articles are factual. We're telling it to write a short story, and that generally, you would think would need imagination, right? So write a short story about a lion that is about to become the prince, about to become the king of the jungle when his father suddenly gets killed by his uncle and he has to claim his throne. This should be a story of good over evil. I mean, you and I know this is from The Lion King, but it doesn't. So let's see what it comes up with. And there we go, just like that. It also said Simba and Mufasa, so it knew that this is talking about The Lion King. And it went ahead and basically wrote out this whole story. It's got Scar in it, and and all kinds of Lion King references. So very, very, very fascinating. And it basically went ahead and did that right away. Now if we go a level more serious and we say, okay, write out a news, write out an article that is no more than 1,500 words for a newspaper talking about the current political climate of the USA. So this is going to have a more serious tone. It's going to talk about, you know, basically whatever political pieces that might be relevant within its training data. And I think that's one of the things that I want to emphasize here is this is not a human being on the other side that is writing up these articles, right? This is training data. So whatever you see here is going to be um, a result of the data that this particular AI model is trained on. And so when you do ask it subjective questions like the one that I just asked, definitely take it with a grain of salt because it is basically a product of its data, just like you and I are a product of our own previous data. So as you can see, it's pretty good at writing, and it can pretty much write anything. Now, if I want to write my college essay, I can say, go ahead and write out my college essay on, let's see, post-colonial industrialization, right? So something industrialization in India, right? And there, boom, right? It's just going at it. Um, and it's really well written. It's way better written than I could ever write. But but yeah, so definitely a very powerful tool when it comes to writing. It's also a very powerful tool when it comes to, you know, checking if you are writing grammatically correctly. So what I also like to do sometimes is I'll have an email and I'll just throw that email into this and ask it to paraphrase it so that it sounds friendlier or so that it's more grammatically correct, and it does a great job at that. So that's the first powerful application, and I think it's a really good way to get yourself familiar with the tool, is by having it write pieces of content. So with that, I think we can go into slightly more nuanced, applications of this. So what I'll do here as well is I'll start a new chat, okay? And I'll basically, so that you can see that your previous chat is right here, and you can always go back to it, right? So now what this means is this conversation, your chat in this conversation remembers the questions you asked it. And so you'll start that it's going to start getting some context as you continue this down this trajectory. So to demonstrate that, let's just say this is my new chat, and I'm going to basically give it some context. I'm going to call it, I'm going to say, hey, you are homework helper GPT, and you will help me with my homework today, right? And it's going to basically say, great, what do you need help with? It's going to say, I'm actually ChatGPT, but I will help you with my homework. Okay, so say you want to do some homework in Spanish, and you want to translate a sentence in Spanish. So you can start off by saying, okay, translate the following to Spanish. Oops, Spanish. My name is George, and I like playing soccer. There you go. So it immediately translated your word into Spanish. So your sentence into Spanish. So this is, we're looking at this in the context of homework help because I wanted to basically show you guys in different chat here. But this is an extremely powerful application. If you think about it, and as we continue to move forward here, I will be developing, applications and showing it to you on how we can um, how we can very quickly use this exact functionality to create on-the-go translators. You know, um, and this is going to be the same thing. Okay, now translate that to French, and it's going to be no issues for it at all. Boom, right? Okay, translate that to Arabic. This one I do not know how it's going to do. Oh wow, did not realize that. That is very, very impressive. Translate that to Hindi. Incredible. So it is also able to handle other language scripts, which is quite powerful, right? So that's the language translation element of it. Now, if you want to go a level deeper here and say I'm going to start another chat because it's no longer my homework helper, I'll say you will be my trip planner for this conversation. Okay, so now you're going a level that is beyond your homework, and you're making this your personal assistant to plan yourself a trip. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say I am going to Kelowna, BC. That's in Canada, for those of you who don't know. Over the next weekend with my family, and would like for you to create a 3 days and 2 nights trip itinerary for me and my family. I can never spell itinerary correctly. There we go. All right, so as you see, just one prompt, basically asking it to plan me a trip to Kelowna, BC for 3 days and 2 nights for me and my family. Let's see what it says. Boom, there you go. So it breaks it down by day, and it starts right at the morning, right in the morning. Tells me what park to go to and what to do, ride a bike or hike. And then it tells me where I can have my lunch at. Then it tells me what I can do in the evening, exploring the cultural district and the community theater and heritage museum, and wrap up with a sunset dinner at a lakeside restaurant. And then it proceeds to do exactly that for day 2 and day 3. This is where I can legitimately say that it has already surpassed my planning skills, and is so incredible. And you could do the same for any place, right? So let's do a place that is not in North America, right? So let's just have the same prompt right here, but let's put this prompt for another place that is not a North American place, right? So let's just say we're going to Singapore, okay? And it will do exactly the same thing. Boom, right? Day one, day two, day three. So extremely powerful when it comes to personalizing your recommendations, and this can extend endlessly, right? It can basically, this is just one trip. You can have all kinds of plan me this event. Describe ChatGPT what your personality is and tell it, give you book recommendations. You know, the opportunities are endless here. And with this, I'll pause this kind of video here. This is really more of an introductory video that I wanted to have so that everybody that is watching is on the same page with their understanding of this fantastic new tool that's come out. I will be posting multiple times a week, and I will be getting deeper into the theory side of things as well as coding side of things. So if there are suggestions, or if there are, you know, um, specific coding examples or specific theoretical pieces that you'd like for me to get deeper into, definitely comment in the comment section below. Otherwise, definitely please remember to subscribe and like the video to show your support if you enjoyed this. Thank you all.